which is very, I found that part interesting.
That it is. All right. We almost ready to go live there, George?
I think we are live.
Fantastic. Give it one more minute for a couple more people to join us, and then we'll get started.
Got to pump up the line, just like at a nightclub.
Exactly. All right. Alrighty. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the RTP chapter of 1 Million Cups. Glad to have you here this morning. Pretty excited to have our presenter today because I think it's a really interesting idea and a unique way to utilize unused capacity in manufacturing, particularly here in North Carolina. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But first things first, I want to introduce you to 1 Million Cups if you haven't been here before, or if you're watching this on a recorded version or on social media. 1 Million Cups is a free national program designed to educate, engage, and connect entrepreneurs. There are about 160 1 Million Cups communities across the country, and we're a supportive, neutral, and industry agnostic space that is not a pitch environment, meaning that our presenters aren't going to be selling to the room. 1 Million Cups is a local entrepreneurial ecosystem building community that is powered by the Kauffman Foundation. The Kauffman Foundation is a $4 billion endowment for the promotion of economic development through entrepreneurship. And we are the local, for lack of a better term, foot soldiers in that use of building entrepreneurial communities. We have a format where we have 1 to 2 startup companies give 6-minute presentations followed by 20 minutes of question and answer from the audience. Being that we're in a virtual format, we do have a unique question and answer format where we'll be breaking up into breakout rooms according to the asks of our presenter and coming up with interesting and thought-provoking questions for the presenter, as well as exchanging ideas within the breakout room. And the idea behind what we're doing here today as a community is trying to figure out what we as a community can do to help our presenter. We love for people to get involved with 1 Million Cups. There's several ways you can do that. You can become an organizer, which means that you help connect and build our startup community by becoming a member of the organizing team. If you want to more information about how to become a member of the organizing team, you can reach out to myself, Terry, George, Frank, Jenny, and I don't have the Brady Bunch boxes up right now as I'm sharing my screen, but any other organizer who's on the call, just reach out to them and ask how you can get involved. You can also apply to present. So if you have a company that would benefit from presenting at 1 Million Cups, you can submit your application at www.1millioncups.com/RTP. You can also refer a presenter. So if you're not an entrepreneur, but you know somebody who has a startup company or is thinking about starting up a company, let them know that we're here. Let them know that we provide connections to the resources that they would need to understand how to start up a company or help their startup along, and invite them to a meeting, and they can determine for themselves if presenting at 1 Million Cups would benefit them. And then last but not least, of course, what you're doing here today, which is attend to give excellent feedback to our presenter. I want to thank our community organizers. First, we have Tracy Ames, Frank Pollock, Rosalinda Cruz, myself. We also have Terry Conlon and George Stewart, Krista Johnson Sotomayor, who was our past lead organizer, Dan Hepworth. And we have a new organizer who's just come on. I have not had an opportunity to add her picture to the slide deck, but Jenny Midgley, who is also on the call today. I want to thank our community sponsors, Muddy Dog Roasting Company, which is a local coffee roaster in Mooresville, North Carolina, the Global Training Initiative at NC State, NC IDEA, American Underground, the Imperative Product Operations Company, the Massapequa Tutor, Soto IP, and New York Life. And now for our presenter, I want to introduce Tino Go from Baru Inc. or hellobaru.com. And he's going to tell us about his innovative way of innovative company that produces office furnishings. So Tino, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, let you go ahead and get started. Welcome.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate letting you talk about my favorite topic. So what we've done is, I presume everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
We can see you.
What we've done is we are using augmented reality to radically transform manufacturing. We're letting anyone change the product before buying it to customize it for their needs. At the same time, we're supporting local businesses, creating hometown jobs, and saving the environment, literally. And so our manufacturing system shortens the operating cycle from 18 months, a global supply chain, down to just 2 weeks, a hometown process. So that I know that completely sounds like science fiction. So, you know, to reinvent the way the world works. So for that reason, I've recruited this rock star team. You know, at the executive level, we've got Kevin, who's been a software engineer his entire life. He's managed projects for NASA and GE. He built our awesome augmented reality, the e-commerce platform. Melinda has been in digital marketing, starting at Google, and then she went on to WPP to advise Fortune 500 companies like Walmart, Volkswagen, Procter & Gamble, GE. Leland, he's recognized nationwide for manufacturing automation and small workshops. So he was the 2019 president of the Cabinet Makers Association. So he's right for the product category that we're in right now. Ashton, she's been a growth hacker since that expressions existed, even before then. And so she's leading our digital strategies team. My own background is in operations and corporate finance between the US and Europe. I've overseen companies during hypergrowth from 12 million to 85 million. I've also overseen $1.2 billion business units of global companies. I also invented the method and wrote the patent application. So Baru's system of manufacturing lets shoppers customize products in augmented reality before buying. We're transforming those customer orders into robotic instructions. And so we've got a patent pending on the method and the system. So there are a lot of ways to leverage this technology, but we're starting with non-upholstered furniture. The reason we're starting with furniture is because it's costly to inventory, it's heavy to ship, and it's damage prone. And the industry spends $9 billion of its $18 billion in sales on logistics and management of inventory. That inefficiency is our unfair advantage. At the same time, we're solving a problem that 1 of every 2 buyers experience. They find what they love, but they can't find it in the size, color, material they need for their home. We've made that process super easy. Choose your product from our pre-engineered catalog, customize it in augmented reality, and we deliver it in 2 weeks. So here's how it works. The order automatically gets sent to a hometown manufacturer. Because there are manufacturers with idle robotics everywhere. we've created this capital efficient, zero footprint distributed manufacturing network. So we don't have to deliver any further than 1 hour from 135 million households. At the same time, we're saving the world. We're not shipping trees from Appalachia to China to Malaysia and back as container loads of standardized furniture. We're supporting our local businesses, creating hometown jobs, and reducing tons of bad inventory waste, landfill. And we're eco-positive. With every sale, we plant 3 trees. We more than replace the wood that we use. The trees capture more than the CO2 emitted from the electricity generated and used and the delivery fuel for that last mile delivery. So here's how we can be effective, how we can build better products than the competition for the same selling price. Our virtual supply chain avoids 50% of the cost structure of the furniture industry the way it is right now. So the industry spends $9 billion for the management of inventory and that global distribution. We've eliminated those costs and we've reallocated it into our hometowns for higher quality materials for our buyers, local manufacturing services, higher margins that we put back into growth, and higher profits for investors. And because our cost structure is so radically different, we can really focus on the things that customers care about, like customization, high-grade materials, excellent customer service. We're selling to businesses and to consumers, but among consumers, we have 2 target groups. Adults under 40, they want it online, easy and fast, and customized. And all of the folks who have looked to buy something but can't because it doesn't exist. So we've made it super easy to buy exactly what everyone wants and needs. So we expect that we're actually expanding the market by about $3 billion from the existing $18 billion. Because the $18 billion is all crammed on the left side of this chart, where things come in factory standard sizes and variety. We're out here where we make anything of it, you know, it's customized. And so at that crate and barrel price point, we're delivering a custom quality product. We launched last year with our product and service. And when Google listed us on their Employee Perks website, we started selling organically. And then Microsoft and Apple invited us into their program, which is managed by this company called Passport Corporate. Now we're in 14 regions around the US, across the US. And we're also talking with business buyers like a commercial office. They will be channel partners, so they'll be a source of recurring sales. So Passport Corporate has a 700,000 potential employees in its nationwide network, but we're focused on marketing to the folks in the Bay Area. There are 170,000 employees, well-paid employees of Genentech, Apple, Oracle, Microsoft, Google, and others.
Tino, could you wrap up, please?
Yeah, sure, of course. So we're strengthening our brand with Andre Basegi, who's a veteran of Kate Spade. The whole point is because we don't have inventory and manufacturing investment, we can sell $1 billion of goods by being less than an hour away from 2/3 of the US population. So we are raising an angel round, but my ask of this group is different, and I'll post it to the chat. We see a lot of potential strategics and exits. It's additive at multiple levels to their businesses. And yeah, I look forward to your feedback, your questions, and any referrals that you can provide. So my 3 asks are referrals to corporations who could benefit from our technology, referrals to companies who would put Veru on their Employee Perks website, and also we're looking for angels if anyone knows any.
All right, Tino, thank you very much for your presentation. I appreciate it. So hold on just a moment here. Oh, shoot. Why is this not letting me share this? No. All right, so we're going to break out, we're going to go into breakout rooms here. George is putting those together. So we're looking for responses to Tino's asks. So referrals to companies that could benefit, referrals to companies that may be able to add the company employee perks program, as well as introductions to angel investors. And then there will be another breakout room, presumably, George, with people talking about other topics.
Yeah, so we've got we've got 5 breakout rooms.
Okay.
We're going to divide up a little bit differently this time. So room 1 and room 2 are going to be about the go-to-market strategy and the referrals that Tino's asked for. Rooms 3 and 4 are going to talk about, or I'm going to ask you to talk about, funding and investment. And then room number 5 is the free-for-all room, where I will ask you guys to talk about, think about things that that are not one of those first 2. So 2 rooms on go-to-market, 2 rooms on funding and investment, and 1 room on other topics. You guys have got 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and go around the table. So Tino, it's just you and me.
Yeah.
And our crowd on Facebook. So if you guys are on Facebook and you have questions or suggestions for Tino, then please put them in the comment section, and we will cover those when we go through the Q&A. So good job, Tino. What's your biggest challenge?
Right now is just a lack of capital. We're shoestringing it along. Fortunately, the sales have been organic, and that's what's allowed us to sustain ourselves.
So if I can ask this, are you cash flow positive?
As of this month, we're unit profits positive.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a step in the right direction, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's we priced it initially to for economies of scale within really tight regions, but we saw the sales occur all over the U.S. And so we weren't able to get the economies of scale. So I just did a price bump of 30%, and it looks like we're on track to equal or better last month.
So what's driving your sales right now? What's the customer profile that's driving your sales?
They are folks who are tired of working from home from their makeshift whatever scenario desk it is, and they became aware of us that we offer fast customization.
So is it mainly through your corporate sponsors, or is it independent
It's
consumer demand?
Yeah, it's grown outside of all the corporates are also consumer demand. It's just a referral mechanism.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, is it through referrals, or how much of your business is being attracted through referrals versus being attracted directly?
Through the employee perks programs, at this point, I'd say it's 70%.
Sorry, I just got a text message here I need to attend to.
Certainly.
All right. So how much time we have left? Oh, they've got 2 more minutes to go. And then they'll come back and say, you didn't give us 5 minutes. So do you have particular pieces of furniture that are more popular than others?
Yeah, well, we only have bedroom items and office items. So the two desks, two adjustable height desks outsell all of the others, and so we're putting more adjustable height desks on the site.
So are they adjustable height, meaning sit stand?
Yeah.
All right, I need one of those.
I know a guy.
I have a sit down desk. You see me here sitting down, and I worked for a startup that came into some used stand-up desks, and I loved it. So I worked for a year and a half standing up, and it was tough the first 2 weeks. And after that, the only time I sat down was in a meeting.
I agree. I agree completely. That's my preference. Although right now, I still don't have one of my own desks.
Oh, shame on you. You're not much of a referral customer.
I do know they're high quality. Maybe that's why I don't have one right now.
Everybody on Facebook now knows that you don't have your own desk, so you better fix that one.
It's
Go place that order. You probably know how to do it.
I do know how to do it.
All right, everybody's coming back in just a few seconds. Oh, I guess they've got 20 more seconds, so they've been notified that they're coming back. So it's a better day today for riding in the park than it was the last time you were here. It's nice and sunny, and it's going to be fairly warm this afternoon.
Yeah, it looks nice, just from the window light.
The windows that you're seeing. All right, I think everybody's back. So I'm going to go through hopefully twice and ask each group to ask one of their questions the first time around, and then another one of their questions or suggestions the second time around. So we'll start with group number one. So that's Chelsea, Dwight, Frank, Lori, and Mark. What have you got?
I was undemocratically elected to be our spokesperson, so thank you, Frank. So one of the things as a kind of referral suggestion that we had discussed was universities. Right now we have a lot of faculty and staff working from home, so potentially as a kind of corporate partner. And then also kind of looking forward beyond the pandemic, depending on price, that this could be an interesting feature for dormitories because we have students moving into a space that they've never seen. So if a university can provide kind of a floor plan, and then Frank also pointed out from a marketing perspective that EDU domains rank very highly in SEO. So that's also going to kind of push you above competitors from an SEO standpoint.
Thank you. That's great.
All right, thank you. So another go-to-market strategy. So this is Ed, Jenny, Julia, Mark, and Wayne. What have you guys got?
Well, I guess I'll speak. So one of the things that we talked about was healthcare, hospital systems. The process for hospital employees to get new furniture is tedious and time consuming. And if you can leverage the relationships and get some data around the time saved at the other companies like Google, Apple, and Microsoft, that you could get into the purchasing departments in these hospital systems to be able to cut down on the lost productivity when it comes time to having to order new furniture. And then another option, simple marketing with just simple ads of, people like to customize their furniture. People like to customize things. And they like like that Amazon feature of seeing it in the room. So getting it into that space, like just basic advertising, internet advertising on Google, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, that's showing how people can, like that little commercial that you showed in the middle of your presentation. And resellers was another space because of those RFP processes, because of those challenges in getting things through the door.
Could you elaborate on the resellers?
It was not my suggestion, so yes. Edward, can you elaborate on the resellers? Because I didn't write it all down.
Yeah, I think maybe looking at the smaller CDWs of the world, it could be a faster way to get on a reseller's list. Going after a big national reseller, like a CDW or a Soft Choice, which is a big Canadian reseller, that could take up to a year or so. But if you sort of look at the more regional resellers, and I'm happy to send you over a couple if you need some, there's a little bit of a chance that you get on their list faster. And if you have the attention of any of those sales reps, they'll put it in front of their clients and potential prospects. So just a thought.
Yeah, thank you. We're pursuing that, but that's an interesting spin on a different category of reseller that I hadn't thought of. Thank you.
All right, good. All right, we're going to turn now to funding and investment and group 3. So that's Amy, Eugene, Michelle, Ricardo, and Terry.
Okay, I'll take it for a second. Oh, okay, Eugene, go ahead, or I can take it for a second.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the team just decided that we need to understand a little bit more about your value proposition. The typical investor in North Carolina or even Silicon Valley would have to understand exactly what you're trying to achieve. In the furniture business, it may be a cookie cutter model that adapts well, like an IKEA model, something like that. But when you get to entrepreneurs of what we're trying to do, an IoT device and a wearable, a lot of things that we get involved is, there's molding times. There's a lot of other things involved with other type of products. So we need to understand where you're really going in that respect. And Tino, we have a conversation for later on, so I don't want to muddy the waters here, but, and I think Eugene too. So that's what we thought. We don't have anybody in mind right now until we understand more about your model to put you in front of somebody. But it seems like a non-traditional investment at this time. From what the community in North Carolina and Silicon Valley that I'm aware of, that's where I came from. So I think we have to do a little bit more digging before we can recommend where to go. And
yeah,
I think Eugene has some comments as well. Go ahead.
What I was going to say, and he sort of the North Carolina thing, and I've sent you a note on LinkedIn relating to some people who are interested, but the realistic part is if this is proof of concept, then your team should be able to self-fund. I mean, you had a pretty powerful team there. You had some really good people. And then the second side of that is if you're looking at more than just doing furniture on proof of concept, include that in your presentation. I can think of a lot of ideas, but I don't know enough about your technology to know if those things are possible. But I have sent you a private note.
okay, thank you. Yeah, one of our investors is the former CEO of Silicon Valley Bank. So and a couple of VCs as angel investors. And so the idea is to go from virtual to physical. We're building the Star Trek replicator, if you guys know what that is.
Okay.
There's a geeky reference, right?
Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Hey, next one, group number 4, funding and investment. So this one's Alan, Catherine, Phil, Tassos, and Tony. What have you guys got?
So unfortunately, none of us had any ideas relating to funding. Just to put that out there. Aside, we don't know any particular investors that would be a good fit for this necessarily. So we spent more time discussing the idea more broadly. And just some background on me, I worked at Wayfair prior for a few years recently in competitive intelligence. So and I was wondering why they weren't on your list of potential exit strategies. But when we talked about the business idea in general, we noticed like your positioning was pretty mainstream, similar to Wayfair, and they have all the variety and a lot of efficiencies in their logistics. And we're wondering why you're not positioning more upmarket, maybe. And especially because it seems like it'll be challenging to scale up such a decentralized manufacturing process and maintain low enough costs versus the Asian manufacturers.
Yeah, the fallacy in that is Wayfair spends, they had $8.6 billion in sales in 2019, -7% on the bottom line in 2019. They spend about 50% of their revenues on logistics, distribution and logistics. We don't incur that. We're not going to be priced at Wayfair. We're priced a little bit above Crate and Barrel, and a pocket price anyway. And so we've got a radically different cost structure. We are targeting, in high volumes, but the long tail of demand, and so, by being less than an hour away from 2/3 of the US population, that's our strategy. And doing that without inventory, without transportation, long distance transportation, or even packaging for that matter. And then, as you mentioned, customization. Wayfair is on the exits. Thank you.
All right, good one. All right, so then there's the brainstorming group. So this is Dominic, Jack, Jacques, Mike, Bob, and Tina.
All right, I'll the one I think the clarification and then one question. So the clarification, you could have positioned this, Tino, as a bespoke furniture, but using the example of bespoke clothing, there's a difference between made to measure and actual custom. So, maybe the positioning would be more, this is made to measure furniture as opposed to true bespoken, individually custom created. Because there's a possibility that two people can get the same thing. It's just that you get to choose whatever it is, the specifications that you want for your particular piece, right? So maybe make that as a clarification in the branding. And then the second thing, the question is, and this is from a manufacturing perspective, how do you maintain quality control when you have decentralized manufacturing like this, given that, no two tools are sharpened the exact same way, no two robots operate in the exact same way, particularly across facilities and in different locations. This is coming from Jacques, who is an engineer that specifically works with robotic manufacturing processes. After you answer this, you guys might want to get together for a conversation offline about this.
Yeah, so quality control. We produce the machine code. The machines do what we tell it to do. And we buy the materials. So that takes care of 90% of quality control. The last 10% is the local, the cabinet shops and millwork shops that have CNC. They're already they're the best in the region. And these local workshops, they live and die by their regional reputations. So the quality habits are ingrained in their culture, and we've already seen that. They're feeding back up to us improvements on our designs and engineering. And because we associate, we expose those suppliers to the customer, there's a higher level of care that's actually taking place. It's a delegation model similar to Airbnb. And
so do you do a vetting process ahead of time for the manufacturers, and then have a customer, I guess, satisfaction rating for each manufacturer?
yeah, of course, and we take it, if they're not happy, we take it back.
Okay.
All right, let's go through once again. So we've gone through all the rooms. We're going to go back and give everybody a second kick at the can. So let's go back to group number one. So this is room number one: Chelsea, Dwight, Frank, Lori, and Mark.
And another kind of discussion that we had, Mark Dixon had mentioned Roblox, which was apparently something our nation's teenagers are really into. It's not something I had heard of, but it is an app, I believe. And Mark, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I'll take over.
It's my 13-year-old's obsession.
Yeah, so the pandemic has really made this virtual world explode. Roblox has been around a while, but in particular Bloxburg, where students can, or my kids can build a house and have their friends visit, and they even buy furniture for each other and gift each other furniture. Tori and I had talked, she's in 6th grade, about the future she's going to be designing her own house. And if you think 10 years ahead, after she's, finished with college, this may be an interesting long-term vision, of course, strategy to leverage that kind of tool. I think you're most of the way there, but we just had a quick discussion about the next generation.
That's not so insane. One of my sons who was really into Club Penguin is an architect.
All right, good one. All right, let's move to group number two. So this is Ed, Jenny, Julia, Mark, and Wayne.
I don't know that we have anything else, but the Roblox idea is genius. Because it's also a staple in my house, along with Minecraft and Among Us. Is it the other one?
Yes.
That all the kids are playing.
Among Us.
I know, Dominic. Yeah, we've talked about it. I can never. I'm like, About Us, Among Us. I don't.
Among Us. Yeah, that's a big one. But like, just to add to the previous point, my son is completely obsessed with the aircraft design application in Roblox, and is like bound and determined now to be an aeronautical engineer. So
yeah,
way to go. Let's do that.
So Tino, you can put your desks on planes.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's redesigning Air Force One and redesigning all of the, like what is the potential for business flights moving forward, like any of that. But yeah, my 10-year-old is like, he allots part of his allowance to his monthly Roblox spending.
Wow.
We teach, it's helping with budgeting too. I got nothing else. Anybody from our group?
If not, we'll move to group three. So funding and investment. So this is Amy, Eugene, Michelle, Ricardo, and Terry. Second kick at the can, guys.
I don't have a funding investment, but just in terms of another founder to reach out to. Hi, this is Amy. So one of the companies that made it through to the finals for our seed grant last spring is Live Furnish. Preet Singh is the founder. I believe he's still maybe working at a Winston Starts if you look him up. So they basically have the ability to visualize. They're starting with furniture, but in a room. So again, they're not the manufacturing, but just of the types of, maybe it's technology. He's starting in the furniture space, of just of investors he's talked to, feedback. It may just be worth connecting with him. I believe his funding that he did get came from the West Coast. I don't have all the details, but I'll put the website in the chat, but you can probably just connect with him. He's a nice guy, and I believe he still is at a Winston Starts.
Thanks, Amy.
All right, number 4. So this is Alan, Catherine, Phil Tassos, and Tony.
Don't everybody speak up at once.
thought Tony was mentioning a good idea towards the end where this could be a really useful tool for designers. I don't know if you want to elaborate, Tony.
Sure. Yeah, that's the idea. Just thinking about right off the cuff, who would be using this day in and day out. And I have some friends that are designers, and this is what they do pretty much all day. Me, I would be like, yeah, I don't really care what kind of furniture I have. But that's you know, my wife and others, of course, they're really into, you know, the thing. But designers, pair up with some designers, and if you can get them to buy into your product, I think you'll have a loyal customer, and it'll kind of spread word of mouth from there.
I agree with you. We're getting,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
we have a lot of repeat customers, buyers from designers. You know, it's and eventually we will be a lot more. We'll have a configurator, you know, for the trade that will provide many more than 20,000 variants. It'll provide hundreds of thousands of variants.
So I had a question on kind of the manufacturing complexities. You know, how do you, you know, you have to actually get, you know, the raw materials to the places, you have to get the right equipment to actually run, you have to package the products, you have to ship. You know, can you share some thoughts about those kind of complexities and how you take care of some of those challenges?
Yeah, so you've identified the challenges, and those challenges are the lack of harmonization in manufacturing at the data level and at the material and machinery level. And so what we've done is we've simplified it down to its common denominators. 3-axis CNCs, materials available within 2 days nationwide. And currently we're working with a certain software suite that controls 25% of the machines out there. And so that's how we streamline it. You know, part of that quality control is also completely, you know, the organizational structure of these shops is owner, operator, design and engineering, admin, and shop floor labor. So we bypass the entire organizational structure to go to the shop floor with the machine code and the materials. And that's what creates high profitability for our partners and high efficiency and quality control, because we're doing that shop. It's kind of like a roll-up structure where we're doing all the admin portions and we're just assigning the manufacturing process down to the distributed.
Have you thought doing a franchise for that part, or is this type of a franchise model for those different shops?
They are already businesses, and so so they have $200,000 in capex that they're only using 2 hours a day. That's the opportunity. You know, the opportunity is the gap between the true cost of the machine, $10 an hour, and what they're normally charging, $180 an hour. And by increased machine utilization, we can split that increased productivity. And so they don't want a new business. They already have an existing successful business.
Listen.
Hey, Tassos, we're going to stick around. Tino's going to stay after the formal meeting ends. So if you guys want to go into this or any other topic in more detail, then by all means, let's just stick around for an informal chat around the coffee pot without me trying to moderate things. All right, so one last group in the few minutes that we have left for Q&A, the other topics group. So Dominic, Jack, Jacques, Mike, and Bob. Anything else?
Yeah, just a comment question. So I can see why you're using only 3-axis CNC machine, and you know also the how you transfer your CAD file to the manufacturer. But one other thing I noticed is on the 27 product that can be multiplied probably in 270,000 potential configuration. They're all the same style. Okay, so there's one style which is I would call traditional modern style. Do you think that would be potentially that will be a limitation to just be only on one style of furniture going forward?
Yeah, the 27, the styles we are enhancing by increasing the number of hardware choices, and those are getting rendered right now. And
but there's no round corner. Everything is square, basically.
Well, not yet. With a 3-axis CNC, you can't have a round corner.
That's true.
But we already have shops in our network that also have 5-axis and 6-axis CNCs that only it's half an hour a day on average. And so it's just a matter of volume and economies of scale on our side as well as network wise.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys. So Dominic, over to you.
Yeah, of course. So time for community announcements. And we, as always, I have an announcement regarding presenters. So one of the most challenging things about being an organizer for 1 Million Cups for any chapter across the country, and we see this at our national organizers meetings, is the biggest challenge is making sure that we have presenters coming to our meetings on a weekly basis so that we can keep these things going each and every single week. It's been even more difficult in the virtual environment with COVID to have presenters, and we depend on, obviously everybody who is an organizer to help make sure we keep our pipeline filled with presenters from week to week, but we also depend on you, our community. So please, please, please don't just ignore when I talk about at the beginning of the meeting that we're always looking for introductions to potential new presenters or just new presenters who are here. If you have an idea, if you know somebody who has an idea, if you know somebody who has a business, it doesn't matter what stage they're in, whether they're as polished and already in the market like Tino and Baru, or if they're at the idea phase. We're here to help entrepreneurs at any stage of their startup business. So please encourage people to come, encourage people to apply to present, because we want to make sure that we have presenters for you to come and listen to and help each and every week. Thank you. Let's see, we have Amy has a couple of announcements.
Yeah, hi everyone. I work with NC Idea along with Chelsea. I oversee our grants direct to entrepreneurs, micro and seed, and our spring grants cycle kicks off on February 2nd when applications for micro and seed open. So we've got a variety of activities in addition to doing 1 million cups across kind of the state and letting people know about it. But we also have an information session on the 22nd of January. I'll put the links in the chat to our micro and seed pages. So our grants are for early stage companies, that have scalability potential. Our micro grants are $10,000 grants are for companies that may have more momentum than traction. They need to validate something about their business model, the marketing, a prototype. We're industry agnostic, so we really see a wide variety of companies. It's not just tech, it's not just consumer products. We just look for companies that are at the stage where that $10,000 can really move their business forward. And then our $50,000 grants, our C grants, are for companies that have some type of traction. It may not be paying customers. It can be partnerships. It could be pilot groups, some indications that there's the market is kind of ready for this company and that the company has a real plan of how to use the $50,000 to begin to scale their business. We know that the $50,000 is probably not all these companies need, but it's, they have we can really see the impact. There's a lot more I can say about it, but that's what the info session on the 22nd is about. We also have, even though the application doesn't open until February 2nd and it's due on March 2nd, we've got the template applications up on our site. Founders can sign up for office hours to ask any questions. So a lot of resources. So if you would spread the word to your networks, that would be great. And the info session, if people can't make it on the 22nd, we will record it and put that recording up on our website.
Amy, are those companies required to be North Carolina based?
Yes, they do. They are.
All right. I just know we have people that join us from or view this from outside the state of North Carolina. I just wanted to clarify for them.
Yeah, I know it so well. So it's actually good sometimes for people to ask the obvious questions. Absolutely.
Any other announcements? Bob, you got anything? One thing.
In terms of a community announcement, or are we starting to jump back into
community announcement?
No, I'm too individualistic these days. I'm decommunitized.
Fair enough. All right. Well, with that being the only other announcement that we have in the queue, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the formal meeting. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We're going to go ahead and stick around here for a few minutes, having a formal chat around the virtual coffee pot. This is more of an open Q&A for our presenter, as well as an opportunity to chat amongst yourself, maybe do, a touch of offline networking and getting to know each other a little bit more as a community. I know it's been almost a year since we've gotten an opportunity to meet in person, but I would love for, by the time we get back to a point where we can meet in person, and God only knows how long that's going to be, but at least for those of us that have come to be part of the community during the COVID-19 pandemic, to have a solid relationship when we do get an opportunity to meet in person. So feel free to chat.